So let's show a ton of love to Christian van Bremen. Raise that a little bit.
Hello. I'm very excited to get to be with you tonight. It was the summer of 1995, and I was about to become a senior in high school. I also, the previous semester, had transferred from another high school to an arts high school, which was fantastic because it meant I didn't have to spend a full another year at the hellmouth that was my previous school. So I arrived to this arts magnet school a little shell-shocked from what my previous school experience was like. I used to get food thrown at me every single day and get called a fucking faggot every single day. So when I showed up to this art school, I was a little timid, didn't know how people were going to respond to me. But the thing about this school was the social hierarchy was based upon how outlandish and weird you were made you more popular. So with my piercings and my silver vinyl pants, I was a big hit. So I was relishing this newfound, sense of belonging. And that summer I was hanging out on the rooftop with my friend Heather, and we were smoking weed and staring at the stars and talking about deep stuff like life. And she turned to me and she said, Will told me that he has a crush on you. And my eyes got huge. Me? Yeah, you. Come on. I invited him over. I hope you don't mind. Well, just so you know, Will was the hottest guy in school. He was like Jordan Catalano, but slightly goth and with a better personality. He was on the marathon team, but he also wore eyeliner every day. He also was wise beyond his years and completely comfortable with the fact that he was gay. I was in awe of the fact that he was so comfortable with himself. I, on the other hand, was still grappling with that. I had a feeling maybe that I might be gay. I had a poster of Morrissey that I hung above my bed. And I would stare up at him at night as I let myself drift off to sleep. Does that mean I'm gay? I just couldn't bear to let the guys who harassed me be right about me. I couldn't bear the fact that these guys who ridiculed me and made me feel like an outcast actually knew more about my sexuality than I did, and I did not want them to be right. I was angry, I was confused. I let my style be my armor, and they could make fun of the way that I dress. I had control over that. I just didn't have control over them making fun of me for something I still didn't even really realize yet. So there I am on the rooftop with Heather, and this guy, the hottest guy in school, who apparently has a crush on me, is on his way over. I'm flabbergasted, I'm scared, and I'm a little excited. And we heard the rattle of the ladder, and Will's head rose up to the roof to greet us. Heather, within a matter of minutes, groaned and was like, "Oh, my stomach hurts. Oh, I have to go downstairs and lay down. You guys just hang out up here. Have a good time." I sensed I was a subject of their conspiracy. So I made small talk to act light, and suddenly in my mid-sentence, Will planted a kiss on me. It was my first time kissing a guy. I remember when he kissed me, the first thought that came to my mind was, wow, guys' mouths are so much bigger than girls' mouths. I'd kissed a handful of girls before, but there were no fireworks, as they say, so I just didn't know what the big deal was. But kissing Will, there were fireworks. And so the second thought that came to me was, oh shit, I'm gay. So Will and I wound up spending the rest of the summer together. We had a great time, and as September drew near and the school year was about to begin, Will said to me how excited he was to go back to school, and I was like, why? And he was like, well, I can't wait to show everybody at school that you're my boyfriend. Sweet, right? I was not prepared for that. This was something I hadn't even considered. So I felt if I showed up to school with Will, it was going to just open up this whole new onslaught of gay bashing coming my way. I didn't want anyone to know anything about me. I was happy just being the guy in the crazy clothes. Being with Will would have made everything very public. So when school started, I did everything I could to hide from Will. And when he'd put his arms around my shoulder, I'd shrug him off. No PDA, Will. Shortly thereafter, a new kid started at school. He was so hot, super exotic. He had 2 lesbian moms and a pride sticker on the bumper of his red convertible. It wasn't very long before he and Will hooked up, and I wasn't mad at them. I was actually mad at myself that my shame had driven Will away. Spring came, and it was time for us to audition for the school plays. I had my heart set on getting a role that had no lines whatsoever. So when I saw my name on the roster and I recognized that I was cast as Sir Andrew Aguecheek in Twelfth Night by Shakespeare, I was dismayed. So just so you know, Sir Andrew is pretty much written to be like a Shakespearean equivalent to the sissy buffoon. He leaps across the stage, he's really vain, he thinks he's a good dancer, and he makes these yelps and squawks, and he's pretty much the laughingstock of the play. Not something I was ready for. So I went to my teacher's office, and I was like, Mr. Davies, can't I just have a role where I'm like a townsperson or like a guard or something with no lines? And Mr. Davies spoke with this perfect theatrical voice and speech, and he was like, absolutely not. You are meant to play this role. And he ushered me out of his office so he could finish his lunch. You know that scene in Carrie where Carrie's like got the pig blood on her and she's dripping and you hear this voice on repeat go, they're all gonna laugh at you! They're all gonna laugh at you! That's what was going through my head as I was arriving to my first day of rehearsals. Except nobody was laughing. In fact, everybody was just staring at me with their eyes glazed over as I fumbled through my scenes. Mr. Davies, I saw him reach deep within himself for his final ounce of patience and wipe his face with his whole hand, and he would say, try it again, but funny. How was I supposed to do this? I didn't know what the heck I was going to do. I could tell that my fears were blocking me from actually being able to take a risk or to be vulnerable enough to be laughed at. I got so worked up, so stressed out, I stopped eating altogether. And I think that it was because of the level of stress. Eventually, my body just shut down and I wound up getting pneumonia. So I spent 2 weeks watching reruns of Bewitched, and my friend April came over, and she was there to bring me my homework, and she let me know that there was an understudy that just gotten hired to, or cast to replace me because it seemed like I probably wasn't going to make it back to school in time for the show to start. I should have been relieved, but something swelled within me. This was my part. I'd worked really hard to get into this school, and I'd been somehow given this role and given an opportunity to showcase my talent, and I wasn't taking it because of my own fears, the same fears that were preventing me from being able to let love into my life. I knew that something had to change, and I knew it needed to start right then and there. The fire in my belly that suddenly rose up must have helped me to heal, because suddenly, within a few days, I was feeling better and went back to school, and with no time to spare, we were already in dress rehearsals. So somebody handed me my costume as I'm, trying to get things ready. Oh my God. It was lavender satin with lace collars, a huge white hat, and a big plume of ostrich feathers. I winced as I walked to the dressing room to try it on. Once on, I looked at myself in the mirror and I let out the biggest guffaw. I looked absolutely ridiculous, but kind of fabulous. I changed my posture and I really started to play with the physicality as my lanky, weird body was in this really uncomfortable Shakespearean era suit. I started playing with my voice and chuckling at myself in the process. Opening night, I was so nervous as I was waiting in the wings, but I did a very melodramatic power pose and did little jigs with my scene partners before we took the stage. The lights came up, and we hadn't even said a single line, but the sheer physicality of us just waiting there as the lights came on, already we got laughter from the audience, which fueled me. It actually made me turn the volume up on my energy a little bit. So, well, not a little bit, to 12, let's say. And so when it came time for me to take my leap, I leapt clear across the stage. When it came time for me to make my yelps, I yelped like a donkey being dunked in ice water. Ah! And the audience, the laughter kept mounting and mounting. It felt incredible. This laughter wasn't the laughter I was accustomed to, which was usually mockery. This was laughter where people were celebrating what I was bringing with my co-stars in that moment on that stage, and it felt phenomenal. Every time we came on for another scene, the audience would roar with applause. It felt awesome, and afterward, in the dressing room, I was still trembling as I was taking my makeup off, and Mr. Davies came into the dressing room, picked me up off the ground, and spun me around in circles, and he was like, "You did it! You fucking killed it out there!" It was like the end of a schmaltzy Disney movie, but it was terrific. Something shifted within me by playing Sir Andrew Aguecheek. I felt like this part of myself that was always really wanting to be unleashed finally was given permission to. I opened up in ways that I had never been open before. And when I went to school, to be honest, there are still moments where I'll do something, I'll make like some melodramatic gesture or like say something in a certain manner, and I'm like, that is so Sir Andrew of me right now. But actually, it's just me, I guess. So I go back to school after that weekend, and people were giving me hugs and telling me how great it was. And usually I would kind of shy away from compliments, but I embraced it with utter gratitude. I graduated and shortly thereafter came out, and I went to community college. And one day I was sitting at the reflection pool and I was studying and enjoying the sunlight, and I heard my name get called. And I looked up, and it was Will. And he sat down next to me, and we struck up a conversation, and I got a second chance. Only that time I was proud to be seen walking around campus with him hand in hand. Thank you.